these edges down. I don't know if you can see them. This one's sticking up a lot, so you can see that one there sticking up, and that's sticking up a bit there as well. So I'll just sand those up. What I was going to use is just this sanding cream, just run it through here. Until we sort of get it level. It's starting to come down now, so I'll do that on there, and then I'll do the same thing underneath as well. Get these all sort of edges all to match up and stuff like that. And we're done. That hand sanding is hard work, so I'm told. Anyway, it's not actually very good, and there's scratches everywhere, of course, because I didn't care. I just wanted to get the edges down. We're not worried about it. It's going to look quite industrial, but this is meant to be cheap and easy and beat up and all that jazz. So, okay, I'm pretty sure you can see this gap here. Where the timber doesn't meet the wood. Now I can bring this in a little bit, but it touches this before it touches this, so it's not going to be a very good way to glue. On this side I've got the same sort of thing happening, but this side I can pull the timber in and it will actually attach. The middle one here does have a gap, but that one will glue and clamp as well. So it's really mainly this one. So what I've got, sometimes if I have to shave small bits off to get the right size, I keep the shavings. This is actually maple, but doesn't matter what it's made of. But you can use it for things like this, so because when you've got a gap there, you just slide these in. Find one's going to work out about the right size. So it's going to be a bit too thin, or is it when I push it in? Yeah, it's still going to be too thin, so I've got a bit of a thicker one here. This one's a bit of a wedge shape, so it might work out alright. So I just used my little sanding block here, and I got this, and I just did this a little bit on it just to get a bit more of a wedge shape, so it's a bit thinner on the end. Okay, that's our piece. On both sides of our piece here. Now I've put glue on the top from this other side here, so by the time I whack this in, the glue will, like that, it'll slide up it. So here it is. Just put it in like that. Push it down. You can see it's right in there now. Probably got too much glue in there. If it'll fit. Actually, yeah, we're clamping this way, aren't we? Oh, look at that, trying to squeeze out now. Okay, so we want to avoid, so I probably need to squeeze the top so it doesn't squeeze out. Yep. So I don't know if you saw that bit of squeeze out there when we just did that. Here we can see what happens. I wasn't paying attention, and the little wedge piece that we put in here, this little bit of maple, it's slipped out, and it's also slipped up a little bit. So slipping out means it won't be as strong, and slipping up means our base may actually hit it. So I might have to sand it off or file it off. We'll see how we go, but I can't move it back now because the glue's sort of half dried. I was putting the rest of the clamps on, and it was only after I finished that I double checked it, and it was too late to move it. Alright, we're about to colour this thing. I am going to put colour on the bottom. If you weren't going to put any colour on it, you just want to preserve the natural look of the timber, you can use something like linseed oil. Boiled linseed oil dries a bit quicker, but linseed oil, that'll provide a coating that resists moisture and dirt and stuff like that, and keep it looking clean and all that. This white palm poly I'm using here is a gloss coating, so if you want it to be shiny, you can use that straight over timber. Now, I'm going to though using stains, and I am going to stain the bottom probably black or something. If you put stain on the bottom, linseed oil and things like this won't stop stain penetrating. So, if you put this down on your
mum's white carpet, or even if you put it on timber like this and leave it for a few days, you pick it up, the stain will probably transfer into it and you'll be in trouble. Linseed oil, in my experience, won't stop that from happening. You can even stain timber through linseed oil. Won't stain as well, but you can do it, so it's not a barrier. A gloss coating, this is wipe on poly, but whatever gloss coating usually will stop it. So if you're going to paint this with a stain, that's cool. If it's going to be on the ground or on a table, that's cool. But then you've got to coat it with some sort of a gloss coating so that it won't transfer into whatever you leave it on top of. Alright, that said, let's do it. I'm actually going to start off with some yellow just for a bit of fun. Is that camera rolling? I think it is. This is only plywood, and this is the bottom, so I really don't care what it looks like at all. You should rub it in with the grain. I was rubbing it across the grain. It's better if you rub with the grain, but I'm just doing these little stripy bits. Don't really care. I'm going over this with black. So I need to make these stripy bits a bit wider than I actually want them to be, so that because the black's going to overlap some of it. Should I continue this onto the side bit? Yeah, I will. The side bit really isn't going to matter because it's probably going to rub off anyway. Onto here I want. So the benefit of spirit stains is I can just put that down now. It's actually dry now. I'm going to coat this with poly now because poly takes a long time to dry. So I'm going to do the poly straight away. And then we'll do the colour on the rest of it. And believe it or not, this colour is dry already. Now you'll see some colour come off onto this when I do it. It's starting to come off a little bit already. This timber, because it hasn't been prepared at all, this is just soaking straight in. Normally you would see this just glide across the top, but this is pretty much all just soaking into the timber. In fact, looking at this, I think I could probably just pour this on. You normally wouldn't do this, but this has so many gaps and stuff in it that it's just going to take forever if I don't pour it on. Not recommended to pour this on. And we're not going to get an actual gloss coating out of this because it's absorbing so much. It's just getting absorbed straight into the timber. It will provide protection and it will stop the colour running out, but it's not going to look gloss when it dries. It might have a sheen, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother doing the sides. It's really just I just want to protect this from carpet. How's that? Gotta work fast because it's hot. This poly that we just put on, which I'm pretty sure the tin recommends 12 hours between coats. It's basically dry because it's so hot. Well, when I say it's so hot, it's not hot, but it's summer in Australia, which is fairly warm. Alright, so, last step I want to make before I'm going to call this finished is put this in. I'm going to glue it into the thing when it's finished. This is just somewhere to put the electric cord that goes in here, so if someone kicks it, it won't actually unplug everything. 8.9 millimeters. So we need a 9 millimeter hole at least. This is sacrificial timber on the workbench, so as you can probably tell, close enough to the edge. It's the width of the pencil moved out a bit. So we'll cut the channel down now. I'm going to cut this across, then I'll cut this channel down to the circle bit. I probably don't even need to spread this glue out, I'll just whack it on like that and then it's going to be fine. We'll just move it around a little bit while it's in position here. Yep. I'll move it over a little bit. There's my line where the block comes to, so we'll just move it over a little bit like that. Don't have to worry about it then. So I wanted to be able to turn this around and show you the extension cord going through here, for which this is the correct size, but my extension cord is being used by someone else currently. So I've just got this cord going through to a power plug, but I do want to have the actual power adapter just sitting in here and plugged in by an extension cord. It'll make it a lot easier and also just keep it sort of all packed in. But anyway, that's that little piece that we made, and the board sitting in there sits in just fine. Obviously when it's time to pack up, you can just pull those out, remove your plug, whatever it is, stick that back in there, show that so you can see, and then just put our lid on. Like that. And we've got their two little screws, which I would normally leave in the side so as not to lose them, but for the purposes of making this as easy as possible. You could even, if you had the extension cord, probably wrap it up and chuck it in underneath, or just chuck it on top of the pedals. That would be fine. And there's our pedal box, the underside, which we coat with poly so we won't get any colours on our carpet. And the fact that we made it kind of rough, I mean, if you look at all the scuff marks and stuff on it, from where I sanded through it, it actually looks like I've been gigging with it for 5 years. So it kind of looks rock and roll, I think. Alright, there it is. Rock and roll, baby.
Thank you for watching this series on making a pedal box and a pedal board actually as well. If you enjoyed it, and I hope you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more making of guitars and things related to music, please consider subscribing to Cheapskate and have fun.